Okay, game 5 here, and there's someone on the board. I don't think I've played a league match with someone in it, and I definitely haven't played many games with someone in it, so should be interesting. Someone is supposed to be good, allegedly. People say that, but we'll see in this game. Other things on the board is peasant, of course, and that means you have access to teacher, and this port, very far right there. So it means um, you probably want to spam ports and put your plus card token on it, right? I have to credit Mixinock for showing me that. I really didn't see much value in doing that until I watched a couple of his games where he did that. He put the plus card token on ports, and then suddenly his deck exploded into something very nice. Anyway, I have 2-5, going to pick up the Peasant and a Jester. I like the Jester. It could dish out some junk, it can maybe gain me some things. And 4 here is a port for me. My opponent opens with the Hermit and the Peasant, Scouting Party Peasant, of course, just to try and push that Peasant up the line very quickly. So, a second Peasant for my opponent here, which is reasonable. Luckily, these terminals collide with the Necropolis, so, you know, saved by the Necro. Just doesn't do anything on this turn, which is unfortunate, but what can you do? It'll happen like that sometimes. And I pick up the Hermit here. You want the Hermit to get rid of these shelters from your deck. Probably replacing them with Peasants, maybe a Silver. Who knows, right? Hermit is usually very good. And with the advent of these events, Hermit actually got stronger. Because what could happen is that you could buy events instead of cards when you play a Hermit and still change your team for Madman. So, I mean, you're not even giving up your buy phase in a sense with the events around now. So I go for another pair of ports here because, like I said, you want to spam ports, and then when you get your teacher, put the plus card token on that. And my opponent has now a third peasant. Well, they've bought a third peasant. The others have been upgraded at this point, I believe. This Jester, what does it do? It gives me a port, which I'm very happy about. I chose to play the Jester over the Hermit there because I wanted to get to 4 to buy ports, and playing the Hermit didn't really do much for me. I could trash one thing really, and maybe the Madman is better, but I decided to just take the immediate gain there with the Jester, and I come up with 3 ports for it, so I'm not too unhappy about this. So this turn here for me is a bit difficult because I don't want to trigger the shuffle to make my soldier miss. On the other hand, there's 1 port left, and if I pick it up, I'll win that split because of that Jester. I'll have 2 more than my opponent, I believe. So, bit reluctantly, I do trigger the shuffle to go looking for money to buy the port. And you know, at least I find the money to buy the port. If I didn't find the money, then that'd have been very, very bad. I just triggered the shuffle for absolutely nothing. So now I have the fugitive on the other side of the shuffle here, which is not where you want it to be at all. And I'm actually quite behind on the peasant upgrades. I only have the 1 peasant first of all. My opponent has bought 3 and they've been upgraded. Look, they already have their 2nd peasant to fugitive, and the 3rd one up to soldier, and I believe the other one is to disciple maybe already. I'm not sure. But they're ahead in the upgrading part, right? Which is, I mean, I don't know why. Maybe that is shuffle luck, maybe that is good play. I'm not sure why that happened. So here my opponent now picks up a Jester. They had 5 some turn previous to this. I went for ports instead, but now there's no more ports, so picking up the Jester. This one skips the fugitive, which is okay-ish, I guess. I'm not really sure. And this is a stupid play by me, of course. You're supposed to play the Hermit first, go look for the overgrown estate. Then you would find this port and cycle a little bit more, right? Anyway, now is why I make the play with the Hermit. So I regain the Hermit because I still have shelters to get rid of. And regardless, Hermit is a good card. And now I pick buy a Scouting Party. I'm just going to buy the one Scouting Party, even though I have money to buy two, because I don't want the Madman to miss the shuffle. Also, there's the Jester and these ports and things, but the main thing is the Madman. I don't want that to be out of the shuffle. So yeah, I bought the Scouting Party event. It doesn't count as a card, and Madman and the Hermit trashes itself, and I gain a Madman. So maybe now with the Madman, I could catch up on this peasant upgrade thing, especially since how I skipped that fugitive from my opponent. I'm not sure if that was the leading upgrade for my opponent. It might be. I'm not sure. Anyways, now my opponent makes the same play here. Hermit comes out to trash something and just buying Scouting Parties, maximum cycling, and they get the Madman for their troubles. This soldier is bad here because it knocks me off a port, which means I'll draw one less card this turn. I don't want to be drawing one less card at this point. I need to draw all the cards I could possibly draw. So I won the port split, by the way. I think I have what, two more than my opponent. That means I have what, 8 and my opponent has 4, something like that. So 4 ports, they don't bring me anything exciting. The Hermit here is unable to trash any of the shelters. So yeah, but we're going for the same play again. Gain a Hermit by Scouting Party. I want to see those upgrades. And good thing I bought the Scouting Party. Look, I'm able to get rid of 3 coppers. Just leave a port and just top the deck here. And turn in the Hermit for a Madman. So Disciple on Jester. So my opponent has the Disciple. And now after this then they have the Teacher, right? So they very close to putting that Teacher down on the mat. Disciple Jester. It doesn't really turn up too many exciting things actually. So I'm not too unhappy. They skip the hovel for me too. Skip a port, which is whatever, but they skip the hovel, so 1-on-1. What are you gonna do? Yeah. So my opponent is very near the Teacher, and that usually means you're ahead in development, you're ahead in the game. So I have to try and make some plays at this point to claw back into this game. So I think step 1 here involves triggering this Madman, which I do. Use the Hermit here to gain a Peasant, get rid of the Necropolis, and I'm able to draw all the way through. I play this slightly inaccurately here because what I could have trashed off this hovel as well with this gained Hermit of the Jester, but I played it a little bit inaccurately. So now I have 2 Hermits in play, and this is what I come up with. I could summon both a Scavenger and a Rat, so that the Scavenger could top deck the Peasant upgrade and the Rats could draw it, and I'm guaranteed to get it in play at the start of my next turn. As it turns out, I draw the Disciple up here in my starting card, so I don't have to do that clever tricky thing, but yes, summon for the win. This is great. Also, because I put 2 Hermits in play and didn't buy any cards, all I bought was 2 summons. I have now 2 Madmen in my deck. So that's extremely enriching already for my deck, right? That was amazing to me anyway. So because I have the Disciple, what I go looking for with the Scavenger is a Madman. I trigger the first Madman here. And I don't want to use this Disciple on ports, mostly because I won't gain a port off of it. I rather use it on the Jester and gain a Jester. So I skip a port for my opponent as well as a Madman. So I'm able to gain nothing really. I mean, skipping the Madman is bad for my opponent as well as skipping that Teacher. So that helps me a little bit in terms of slowing down my opponent, but it doesn't really help me in terms of gaining things, which is really what you want Jester to do. Anyway, now after triggering the 2 Madmen, I have 20 and 2 coins. So maybe I need a little bit more plus buy, but for now I'm just going to buy a border village, gaining a Hermit because I got rid of all my Hermits on that previous turn. And now I pick up, what do I pick up alongside it? Border Village, Hermit, and then I believe I summon a Scavenger. That's what I do. I summon a Scavenger because now what I could do the same thing again with the summon. I could use Scavenger, top deck the Teacher now because I'm up to Teacher. Play Border Village. I was fairly confident I would draw at least one plus card thing in my hand here. And yeah, put the Teacher in play. And look at that, someone plus Madman allows me to actually come back, and as well as the Jester allows me to come back here and catch up on the development. I get my Teacher down before my opponent, even though I was so far in the back. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with someone in this game, and it's doing a lot of work here. And considering picking up another summon here for Scavenger for the same reason, just to discard the deck. This time going to top deck Port probably, because now I have the Teacher down and I can yeah, put the plus cards on the Port and get a lot of draw that way. So here's my opponent's summon Scavenger, top decking the Madman. And this turn is really unfortunate for my opponent. All they're able to do is play Disciple on Chester. Hits a Copper, which junks me a little bit, and hits our Port, which I'm not really happy to see, especially considering our Port is like Lost City now. And my opponent picks up a Province because the piles are thinning. We miss our low, they're down to 2, and Jester's on 4. So yeah. Piles are low, so the province is reasonable. Scavenger, I do not discard the deck here because it means I would put 2 coppers and just 1 port in, so I thought it's better to just put the 1 port back rather than have 2 junk cards and 1 good card. This with the rats is a little inaccurate play because I buy a province here because I just copied a just and that pile is now, you know, blinking red. Not blinking, anyways. Yeah, with the rats, I could have played the rats and then trashed the rats out from my discard. So I'd have gone 1 card further, deeper, right? But I didn't think about doing that. And this turn absolutely makes me scream because my opponent triggers the Madman, which is fine, right? He has 2 Madmen, they're triggered. Fine, whatever. But these Jesters, look at what they copy. They copy a Jester and a Border Village. And at the time, I was thinking, what if this man has a win solely because of these Jesters? Incredible. Anyway, he doesn't get a Jester off the Border Village, he gets a Duchy, and then to top it off, there's 2 soldiers coming here to get rid of my Scavenger and my Fugitive. So this is not a happy experience for me at this turn anyway. Picking up a province along the way. So this Scavenger, again, I'm not going to discard the deck because I know that the bottom half of my deck is very rich. So just going to put a port on top and draw that out with another port. So this Scavenger here, I have to pull a Scavenger from the deck at this point because all my ports are outside the shuffle now. So why I have to get the Scavenger is because I want to discard the deck and just top deck some like Fugitive or Border Village to put all the ports back in the shuffle. So again here you see inaccurate play with the rats. I could play the rats, trash the copper, then trash the rats off from the discard. So that would let me see 2 cards as opposed to 1. So Scavenger will top deck the Fugitive because I will see more cards with the Fugitive and hopefully find that port and not choke out. 14, I go for Province and Border Village into Duchy at this point. You have to scramble for points now because that Jester my opponent's Jester just shortened the game so much. It's not even funny. I was not pleased when I saw that happen. After all my hard work with Summon and Madman and, you know, just for Jester to come and undo it. And look, this is an unfortunate turn for my opponent. They do call the Teacher but doesn't have a single port in hand. Just going to not call, but use Disciple on Scavenger here. and picking up Border Village and Duchy. Here I see half my ports, and I have the Border Village, so maybe I'll see one more, but I don't see one more. And these jesters, they don't do, very nice things like my opponent's one. They just give him a couple of curses, which is whatever. He has a hermit, he could get rid of those like nothing. Not a big deal. But yeah, we're in full points mode here. Hermit gaining estate and just buying the province here. Turning in these fugitives for disciples. Now I have some throne rooms in my deck. Woohoo. So here now my opponent finds ports. So presumably if they stalled last turn, this turn is going to be good for them. But they only have 4 ports, which is a big thing. This Jester does not do the wild things that the previous Jester did, just copying a peasant really. The copper is whatever, not really an entity. But yeah, I think winning the port split was a big deal in this game here. It really limited my opponent in what they could do. And yeah, just coming up with enough for a province here, as well as a estate of the hermit. So here is Scavenger again, not going to discard the deck, just going to top deck a Disciple at this point, which is freshly gained because I know there's half the ports in these like last 10 cards on my deck here. So first Disciple on port, and then I have to stop and think about ending the game here because my opponent used Disciple on Jester. There's now just one Jester in the pile, so maybe there's somewhere for me to pile out, not sure about that. But I think I figure it out here because I can top deck the Hermit, draw the Hermit with the port, and then use Disciple on Hermit to gain a Hermit, then gain an estate. Disciple gain me the last Hermit, and then I'll have money to buy the last Jester. So the curse didn't matter there because I would get the estate of the Hermit anyway. So I'm able to squeak out here with a 1-point victory. Someone is great, someone has lots of, and I had lots of unlimited summon this game. And that is game 5 for you. Comments, questions, feedback as usual.